To the tailgate, stopped by F1, baptized by the Pope, been bass for everyone, flying in from the West Coast, even overseas, get blessed by Ginger Jesus, we disciples of the tree, E-A-G, wait, C-H-M-P-S, don't stress, we on the same conquest, dominate the division, destroy the NFC, conquer the AFC, grab that Vince Lombardi, Wentz to AJ, climb it up the gut, beat Graham with the strip sack, this sound familiar, huh, Aguilar on the slot, Sproles with the return, Mills with the pick six, okay, wait, it gets worse. J-Train on the run, J.E. hitting from 60, Fletcher C in that D-line, that's what you don't want to see. Ertz catching tubs, foes on another level. The Super Bowl ain't the only time you see that Philly special. We live from Broad Street, brotherly loves the heartbeat. Hungry dogs run faster and we don't eat cheap. No one likes us and we don't care, cause we from Philly and we ain't never scared. Look up.
But I just gotta know one thing. Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
What's up, Philadelphia? We are live broadcasting from Wildfire Sports Studios for NBC Sports Philadelphia. Welcome to 4th and JAWN, episode 73.
Hey, tell me how good this feels right now. Yeah. Tell me how good this feels.
You're damn right, Doug. You are damn right. It feels great. And listen, boys and girls, I love Thursday night football. I know a lot of you don't like it out there, but I like Thursday night football. It's a little appetizer. It's a little appetizer to my football weekend. But I absolutely hate when the Eagles are playing that Thursday night game, because it takes 5 days for us to get back here in studio and talk to you about our beloved Eagles. But the benefit is, over the last 5 days, I've had time to kind of digest this win, kind of feel it over, mull it over, roll it around my tongue. Because the last 5 days, I've been bouncing back and forth whether or not the Eagles are back on track. Are they back to their winning ways? Are they back to 2017 form? Or do the Giants just suck that bad? Are they the dumpster fire that they've proven to be in the first couple games of the season? Been bouncing back and forth on it. So I've come to this conclusion, right? We, last week, pointed out 3 key areas in which the Eagles differentiated themselves this year from last year. But it's one thing just to say, okay, there's the problem. To point to it and say, that's the issue you need to fix. It's another thing to find solutions. And what the Eagles did Thursday night against the New York Giants is find solutions to those problems. What did we talk about last week? Points per game. The Eagles back in 2017 had 28 plus points per game. This year they didn't score over 23. Against the New York Giants, they put up 34. But how did they do it? It's not enough just to point at the problem and say that's the reason. What's the solution? They did it with a balanced attack, 36 passing plays, 29 running plays. And not just running plays like RPOs. No, Carson was under center and handing the ball off. They protected the quarterback. Was Carson feeling some heat? Absolutely. But the Giants only got 1 sack and 0 turnovers by the offense. 0. That brings us to the next thing we brought up last week, the turnover ratio. Last year, the Eagles finished with a plus 11. They were -4 going into the game. What does the defense do on the Giants' first drive? Turn the ball over. Defense intercepts it. They go down, score a touchdown. It almost felt like the game was over right then and there for the New York Giants. Off to a hot start. That's Philadelphia Eagles football. Third thing we recognized was the penalties. Too many, inexcusable, shoot yourself in the foot penalties. Going into Thursday night's game against the Giants, the Eagles averaged 8.6 penalties per game. 8.6. Against the Giants, they had 4. That's great coaching. That's great discipline. That's how you win football games. Look, boys and girls, I don't know if the Eagles are back to their winning ways. I don't know if we just stomped on a bad team in the New York Giants, and I don't know if just the Giants were that bad that they capitalized on a vulnerable opponent. But what I do know for a fact is that this is the winning formula. And if the Eagles just stick to this script and use the offensive weapons that they have and give Carson Wentz some time and play disciplined, penalty-free football without turnovers, and they press against the receivers, and the defensive line is able to get after the quarterback, I promise you they will win more games than they lose, and we will have playoff football again this season at Lincoln Financial Field. Mr. Gale Saunders, Eagle Sessions on Twitter. You were there with me at MetLife Stadium. My road warrior, as always. How are you doing this evening? Nice get up, by the way. I like the Sixers gear.
Represent the Sixers right now. Hopefully they're winning, maybe. But we went up there. We got that dub. At the end of the day, it's important to come away with the victory. A hostile environment, sort of. Giant fans did leave early. I'd say beginning of fourth quarter. So anytime that happens, I'm happy. Like I actually stayed to the very, very end. I just wanted to see and experience the pain of the Giants fans leaving. I didn't care if I was going to get stuck in traffic. It was okay. But I wanted a curb stomp victory. Last year, this Giant win, the 61-yard field goal, propelled this team into a groove. And I think this game kind of started to get – I got that feeling of they're going to get this groove back. One thing I did like was the coaches setting, the players up to succeed. I talked about numerous times in the last couple of weeks about playing press man,
yes,
putting these guys in a better situation, bracketing. They're actually bracketing Odell Beckham Jr., so that was great. But you also saw players stepping up. Last season, you saw players stepping up. And when you see the next man step up, like a little Avante Maddox,
yes,
5'9", 183 pounds, tackle a guy, you guys know him. Yeah, I don't even have to say his name. The only guy on the Giants team that was making plays, that guy's a giant. That guy was electric. And to see Avante Maddox come in and make a touchdown-saving tackle, that's kind of, it's inspirational. I think other teammates look at that and like, wow, I mean, this dude is balling out right here. Russell Douglas comes in and plays a little safety, something we've been wanting to see for a while. And him coming in there really not knowing too much. I know some of the players around him had to coach him up a little bit, but just seeing those kind of guys step up has been amazing. And the common denominator, between Carson Wentz and Alshon Jeffrey, I think they're getting their groove back. That's a nice 1-2 punch. And just seeing Carson Wentz flash again, whether it's extending plays, hitting Nelson Aguilar, or throwing across his body, doing things that quarterbacks aren't supposed to do, and hitting Alshon Jeffrey, that's amazing. So I think we're finally getting that groove back.
And wasn't it refreshing to see the players after a turnover or after a big sack posing up, getting ready for that pick? Listen, I've missed it. It's one of the things that I haven't said on the air, but I've been looking around. Where's the touchdown celebrations? Where's the defensive celebrations? There hasn't been a whole lot of that because the team hasn't been playing well, but it seems like that swagger is back. And now that the swagger is back, we brought in some swagger into the studio. We got my man Jason Ashworth here.
Transition.
Yo, you like that? Yeah, Fourth and John show veteran Jason Ashworth is here. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I think I agree with you. There is a little bit of that swag back. And I'm not going to tell you that the Eagles are back because none of us really know, are they back? Did they play a bad team, as you alluded to? But the bottom line is what they did do was beat a team they were supposed to beat, right?
Yes.
Because if the Giants are as bad as we think that they are, which they are, then the Eagles did exactly what they're supposed to do, and that's beat a bad team. And when you watch that game, and you alluded to it a little bit, Gail, I saw a couple things, and I want to touch on what both of you said. First of all, you saw a quarterback who was a little rusty. I mean, he's been playing good football, so let's not say he's been playing bad football at all, because over his last 18 games, the guy's been lights out, and I think even in his slow start trying to come back from a knee injury, he was still playing good football. All right, you want to see him clean up some of the mistakes, but you finally saw a really clean game out of Carson. 3 touchdowns, played efficient football, damn near 70% completion percentage. The biggest thing where you were talking about that offense was it was in the red zone, and they went for 6. Right? They didn't settle for 3. When they had an opportunity inside the red zone, they put it in the end zone. And I think when you want to play winning style, winning brand of football, when you get an opportunity to get in the end zone, you get in the end zone. And that's what they did so well last year. For the first time this year, you saw them do that against the Giants. You mentioned Avonte Maddox, and I think you are seeing guys step up. I think and Avonte Maddox, man, look. Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out who the kid is, all right, because it's still early and he's still a rook, and we know that. But here you had, so when McLeod goes down, who's going to fill in, right? Okay, what do we do with the safety position? A lot of us kind of consider, well, is it Mills that's going to go there? Do we give Douglas a shot there? No, here comes his 4th-round rookie. They throw him in there. The coaches absolutely love him from a mental and physical perspective. And then when Sidney Jones gets hurt, oh, no big deal. He'll just drop down to the slot nickel, and then you'll put Rasul Douglas back there. So you're right. They're playing some mistake-free football. And again, it's only 1 week. But if this is that game, if this is that linchpin that starts to turn the corner, they started playing mistake-free football. You started getting legit MVP caliber play out of your quarterback. You got guys who are starting to step up. You're punching it in the red zone, and you're putting your foot down on a team that you're supposed to beat. So did they turn the corner? Are they the team of 2017? We don't know that. It's still too early. There's still so many dominoes that still have to fall. But the good thing is, they're on their way. The good thing is they beat a bad team, and they did it in convincing fashion. And if you're an Eagles fan, if you follow the Philadelphia Eagles and that's your squad, you have no choice but to have a smile on your face heading into this game against the Panthers now.
There you go. And that's why we brought him in studio. Right there. But Avonte Maddox, Gail, you were 100% correct. Like, if you think about what Maddox is doing and what's being asked of him at such an early phase in his career, comes in training camp, playing nickel corner, second team. Now, all of a sudden, starting safety. This is a rookie, a 5'9" rookie with blazing speed. And he's also running the gunner on the punt team. Like, I can't remember a
Which
rookie.
is impressive.
Which is
just as impressive. His skill, his play on special teams, to me, has been just as impressive as what he's done on defense.
I don't remember a rookie coming in and being asked so much of him and performing, putting it out there. This is going to be one of those, we look back on that draft class, this is going to be one of those hidden gems. Like, man, that we score big on that kid from Pitt, right? Think so.
Pittsburgh State.
Oh, yeah, he's from
I think
Pitt.
he's State, right?
Pitt, yep.
He's from Pitt.
Evan Bubblegummy. Oh, I'm sorry. Hollywood Hearn. I got to get used to that.
I got a new name now, bro.
Yeah,
gotta represent.
Hollywood
Put some
Hearn.
respect on it.
Working the soundboard.
First of all, you're making me follow all Ashworth over here. So I already got to fill those shoes. But I feel very confident. Going back to last year, it was the Giants who were the ones that got us kickstarted for that run towards the Super Bowl. And once again, this year, I believe it's going to be the Giants that are the kickstarter again. Carson is coming into his own each week. He's creating better relationships with his wide receivers. They're connecting better. Carson, he is so fun to watch. I know we were talking a few weeks ago about Pat Mahomes and how electric he is, but we've got one of those gems on our own team, and it's so nice to see him in green every single week. But I got to be honest, while it feels all the same as last year, where the Giants are the ones that are giving us this kickstart, it also feels all the same where I'm starting to see guys drop like flies as far as the injuries are starting. The injury bug is affecting us again. And, you know, how many times can you strike gold? You know what I mean? We're losing big names here. And I know going into the season, we weren't expecting Jason Peters to start every game. Trox was. But it's looking like he's not going to be a guy that we're going to be able to rely on for the entire season, and there's going to be a lot of holes that we're going to need to fill. We looked good this past game, but we still have a lot of holes to fill going forward.
And it continues. I mean, you start the season off and you've got running back issues because you have Sproles who's trying to work his way back, and then he can't make his way. You torn ACL with Jay Ajayi. You lose your wide receiver and Mike Wallace on the defensive side of the ball. You lose Rodney McLeod. Your defensive tackle, which we thought was going to be that line was going to be the position of depth. Now they just released and waived Destiny Vio, a draft pick, who that's a weird move in and of itself. So there's got to be something going on because I don't remember seeing him on the injury report. But, okay, now that defensive line is starting to take some hits, and you just start to wonder, okay, how many times can you go to the well? How many times can you expect young guys or inexperienced guys to step up? It worked in 2017, and they struck gold in 2017. To ask that of a group again That's a tall order. Now,
that
the caveat is what you could say about a team like the Green Bay Packers. Well, they have Aaron Rodgers. All right, so no matter what, they're going to be in the hunt because they have Aaron Rodgers.
A franchise quarterback.
Seattle can lose all the guys that they want. Well, they got Russell Wilson. So as long as they have Russell Wilson, they've got a shot. Well, guess what, Philadelphia? You have Carson Wentz. And as long as Carson Wentz is back from his knee injury and can play at that high MVP level, you've got a shot. But when you get to that postseason game, when you get to those big matchups, when you get to those games where it's the best and the best, those are your differentiators, and that's where it's going to matter the most. Can these young guys, can these inexperienced guys continue to step up? Look, right now we don't have to worry about that as much because the schedule, to me anyway, isn't as daunting as it once was, especially when you start looking like this Carolina game coming up. Well, okay, they're not as well-oiled of a machine as I thought they might have been. And then you got the Jags, who just got blown out by the Cowboys. Okay, I get it. They play well in London, but they're not as well-oiled of a machine as maybe they looked last year. So, again, as we always say with every year, the schedule rarely pans out the way it does. The Eagles have a stretch here where if they can put a couple wins together and really start building that momentum, the NFC is still wide open. I get it. The Rams are the best team in the NFL, and they look like they just are right now, and it's hard you'd be hard pressed to argue that. But the rest of the NFC to me is wide open. That 2 seed is still wide open for anybody. It would be crucial for the Eagles to lock that up.
Yeah, I mean you're talking playoffs. I got the list in front of me. Rams #1.
You already got the playoff seeds lined up?
Yeah, man.
Oh, Gail's prepared.
You know, the Saints
my bad.
#1, the 2nd seed. Vikings. The Packers. Hold up, I'm
you see, it's so new. You're still learning how to read it. I get it. I take your time.
The Panthers, the Redskins, and the Bears in the wild card right now. And then we have the Vikings as the 7th seed, Seahawks the 8th seed, Cowboys the 9th seed, Eagles the 10th seed right now.
And I'll honestly, not that we want to get into, none of those teams scare me. The Rams scare me. I get it because the Rams are the most complete team. The Saints, if you want to talk about a gauntlet of a schedule, check out the Saints' schedule and who they play home versus who they play on the road. They've got a gauntlet of a schedule. So I think the Saints you're going to see trip up a little bit, and everybody else. Packers have their deficiencies. Panthers look like they're struggling a little bit. Redskins are a bunch of bums. Bears are still young. Bears, I think, are going to be good in years to come, but they're not ready to capitalize on any of that. So, I think the NFC is wide open. But you're right. Right now, as of today, Eagles are on the outside looking in.
And the Eagles, you were absolutely right. The Giants were the turnaround point for the season last year. It could very well be for this year, but I need more. I need to see it. I need to prove it. And all of a sudden, a Carolina Panthers team and a Jacksonville Jaguars team that we looked at a couple weeks ago, and maybe we said, man, these are going to be real tough games, all of a sudden look very beatable. Now you have the opportunity to jump on a little bit of a hot streak before you hit the bye, and I can't stress this enough. We talked about it on last week's podcast. Out of the last 8 games, 5 of those are divisional games. You just got to win your division. That's all you got to do, and that's a doable thing. I mean, first of all, you got the Carolina Panthers next week, who struggled against the same New York Giants, who we just blew out in their own home stadium, and then coughed up a game. Really, they lost that game for themselves with the turnovers. The Redskins didn't do anything fancy. The Redskins didn't do anything special. There's nothing glitzy or glamorous about what the Redskins are doing, but they beat them. And now all of a sudden you see Cam Newton frustrated. You see a Carolina Panthers team that's struggling. And then you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, London or no London, you still got Blake Bortles back there throwing the football like he's Conor McGregor. He can't figure out a darn thing. And you got Jalen Ramsey all of a sudden awful quiet. Yeah. Awful quiet. And not for nothing, Cowboys fans, I know you want to chirp after beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. We need you to win a game like that. That's good for the rest of the NFC East. That's great for all of us because what that does is keep the red-headed hand clapper. That keeps him with a job.
Get him an extension. They're talking extension already.
Oh, we need Jason. The best thing that could happen is for Jason Garrett and the Dallas Cowboys to start feeling themselves, start doing the Conor McGregor walk all up on the sidelines. Then all of a sudden, Big Jarrett thinks it's all status quo, everything's gravy, and keeps that bum crumb group of guys all together. And ultimately, it will be their undoing. So congratulations, Dallas. Don't get a little too hyped. Hey, Dallas! Because we want you to win games like that. Because at the end, you're still going to lose games like that.
Well, you know what the trick is, too? So the Eagles blew out the Giants. We know that. And here comes Carolina, who you just said it, has struggled the last 2 games. gave one away last week, and then 2 weeks ago just barely beat the Giants. Now, if you remember last year, the Eagles went on, was it Thursday Night Football? I think the Eagles went on Thursday Night Football down to Carolina, and they had themselves a slugfest. And that for me anyway, that was the game where I said, okay, hold on, the Eagles are for real. Like this was a game where they went on the road Thursday night, prime time against a good team, and they gave it to them, and they battled it out, and they came home with the W. So first of all, don't think Carolina forgets that. And don't think Carolina's ready to roll over on the season either. I get it. I'm the one who just got done saying that they're not as well oiled, but they still have a lot of talent on that team. So what the Eagles need to do is coming off that Giants win is understand, okay, that's one win. Okay, and that's one springboard. That's one motivational win towards hopefully a set or a run of wins. They need to keep themselves in check, right? They need to come out with a little bit of passion, a little bit of fire, and understand that was just one game. That was last week. So if they come out and they're slow and they're feeling themselves and they're smelling themselves a little bit and they get, they don't even need to get the doors blown off, but if they let Carolina come in and steal that thunder, that momentum, then that Giants game was all for naught. And we're back at square one having the same conversation again.
Well, Doug Peterson kind of echoed that in his little post-game locker room speech. Evan, why don't you go ahead and play that?
Hey, tell me how good this feels right now. Yeah. Tell me how good this feels. Hey. It's all your hard work, man. You just don't quit. That's what I love about you guys. You don't quit. The resiliency of this football team, right? You don't waver. You don't panic, and you go out there and you dominate. It's a dominating performance against a good football team. Okay, you're 1-0 in the division, and by the way, you're 1-0 this week, and that's our goal every single week.
1-0 every week.
Great job, man. Great all around, all three phases. Defense, creating turnovers. That's what we talked about early in the week. Getting the ball, offense, scoring in the red zone. Special teams, doing your job. Guys are stepping up. Guys are making big impacts in these games, right? This right here is the spark we needed, man. It's the spark we needed to get us going in the right direction. All right, man. Hey, great job. Give yourself a hand, man.
And lost in all of this, kind of, is the fact that the Eagles are now one win against the Giants away from evening the all-time record. Right now, the Giants lead the all-time series at 85, 84, and 2. And out of the last 25 meetings, dating back to 2007.
I know what you're going to say. I think because I was going to say it. Go ahead.
The Eagles have won 18.
Oh, that's not what I was going to say.
What were you going to say?
I forget the exact stat, but it's dating back to the last, 22 games or something. Eli Manning has 4 wins. And so does Donovan McNabb.
Oh, wow. So it's 18-4. We've been
right?
against the Giants, right?
Out of the last 25 meetings, the Eagles have won 18. It was so good, and Gail, you can speak on it from being up there in MetLife. It was so good to be up there, because it sucks. We did the walk of shame in Tampa, man. That absolutely sucks. But when we went into MetLife Stadium, even around the parking lots when I got there early, Giants fans wouldn't even look me in the eye.
Look at this dude.
I had one Giants fan try to say something to talk, like I was walking by him and he's like, "Hey man, you're in the wrong stadium." And I just kind of looked at him like, "What, dude?" And he just out loud said, "You know what, forget I said anything." Because he was like trying to talk smack, but he couldn't. Giants fans wouldn't even look at us in our eye. They were leaving the stadium by the third quarter because they know. They see it on the field.
The vibe was dead. Super dead.
Super dead.
It was like a wake, and the Eagle fans were walking around like, y'all want to see a dead body? I mean, it was just like that. And even out on the in the parking lot, the Giants fans were just like, super depressed. Eagle fans were giving it to them. I mean, the Eagle fans were super hyped.
I mean, they know. The Giants are only going to go as far as Eli will take them, and unfortunately, we've made a living off of bashing Eli, right? And he's got 2 Super Bowls, and rightfully so, right? And he's got 2 Super Bowls, and credit to him. Look, he played big in big moments, and I'll always love him or hate him, and I dislike him as a quarterback, but he's got his 2 rings, and no one can ever take that from him. But his days as an elite option in the NFL are long gone, and Giants fans know. Look, who was their the slick back head coach they had last year, offensive coordinator?
McAdoo.
Yeah, McAdoo. That dude.
McAdon't.
Yeah, exactly, right? Well, look, maybe he was on to something when he sat Eli. Maybe he was the one in the room that knew Eli had no more. because he was the one that took all the heat when he stopped that streak and said, Eli, you need to sit down. We're going to bring what I think he brought Davis Webb or somebody in.
Yeah.
Geno
And
Smith.
he called,
actually.
was it Geno Smith, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that caught all the heat for it. But looking back on it, maybe he was the one with the clue. Maybe he was the one that knew, look, guys, Eli's done. I'm sorry. And you're seeing it this year because offensively they're loaded with weapons. Now, I get it. The offensive line's still piss poor. That's understood. But they're loaded with weapons. And at one point last year, we were talking about the Giants having a legit defense. But if your quarterback it's just if you can't make plays, if you can't rely on your quarterback to go out and make plays, which the Giants right now cannot, the fans know it.
Yeah, I mean,
how could you not be
Hey, tell me how good this feels right now.
I mean, Eli Manning
Tell me how good this feels.
He can't extend plays. He's a sitting duck in the pocket with a rush like ours. He's in trouble. And if you don't protect him, like it's almost like the Giants front office didn't realize that, Eli Manning is Eli Manning. You gotta play to his strengths, and they're not doing that as well. I mean, you got OBJ. You have one of the best running backs in the league. And I hate that they have the running back they have, but I love that they have that running back and picked him in the second pick overall, because having a quarterback is the most important thing for you to do in the NFL. So, like, as long as they don't have a quarterback, I'm okay with that.
I still think it was the right pick.
It was. I mean,
I still think Saquon Barkley 2 overall with the quarterbacks on the board that were there. Look, he's the right pick.
Yeah, he's amazing, but it's going to take another long road to rebuild this.
Why long road though?
Because they're going to have to get their offensive
What are they, 1-5?
linemen.
What are they, 1-5? Go ahead and take a quarterback in the first round next year.
Well, hopefully the guy's there, the guy from Oregon. So I mean, they're resting on other things but they need offensive linemen too. That's the other thing.
Agreed.
But I'll agree with both of you. I mean, Eli Manning looks absolutely cooked. I mean, during that game, he looked like a 13-year-old in sex ed class for the very first time. He looked scared.
Yes.
He looked confused.
Yes.
He looked like he didn't know what he was looking at. He looked nervous. I mean, Giants fans were pumping their chest all in the offseason saying, hey, we fixed the offensive line. OBJ's back. Oh, you're in trouble. OBJ's back. We got Saquon Barkley. And that defense, you guys are in trouble. Turns out you wanted OBJ. You got him. He's arguing with a fan on the side thing.
Legit fan.
A legit fan. not like up in Boston, beer thrown in your face fan. A legit fan. And I don't know about you. Every time I see OBJ like arguing with an inanimate object, all I hear is the squeak. Like, you ever see like a 5 or 6 or 7-year-old kid like absolutely lose their mind, enraged, but it's like like that's what I picture OBJ doing, punching the fan. It is like I am finding so much joy out of New York's misery. It's unbelievable, and being up there to see it in person, absolutely fantastic. The key is going to be keeping it going. Yeah.
And now he's getting called out by his own owner.
Really?
John Mara, he says,
Really?
I think he needs to do a little bit more playing and a little less talking.
Appreciate y'all putting words in my mouth.
So it's funny that you give a guy all that guaranteed money, not to quote Dave Chappelle, but they gave that ninja too much money, so you can't say nothing now. Like, you gave him all that money. What are you going to do? Like, now he has a voice, and now he can say anything he wants because he already got paid. And it's funny, he was just doing an interview with Josina Anderson, and he's giving that interview, and he's got Lil Wayne right next to him. It's the most weirdest interviews. I'm like, what is going on here?
Young Moolah,
He's got the wet blonde Jerry curl, and he's got the cross earring. It's like a bad B Michael Jackson Thriller video. It's just a weird scene, and I'm just like, I'm so happy that we're seeing this.
It's absolute meltdown by the New York Giants. But you know what? If the Eagles can use it to spark their season once again, hey, thank you, New York Giants. We appreciate the hospitality and the dub. Deuces. We look forward to evening the series with you when you come back to Lincoln Financial Field later on in the season. But again, we need to see it again. We need a prove-it game against the Carolina Panthers, who, by the way, the Eagles on a short week last year on Thursday Night Football won that game. Now they get this mini bye going into this game with the Panthers, and you can see a lot of what the Eagles did last week what the Eagles did against the Panthers last year and look at the home field advantage that the Eagles have at the Link, and all of a sudden start to think, okay, this is the next building block on the way to the postseason. Because what did the Eagles do against Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers in 2017 when they beat them 28-23? Cam was 28 out of 52. Think about that. We're not talking about Carson Wentz. We're not talking about Aaron Rodgers. We're not talking about Tom Brady. We're not talking about Drew Brees. 52 passes out of Cam Newton. You want to talk about asking your quarterback to do way too much to win a game? Have Cam Newton throwing 52 passes. But why did that happen? The Eagles completely shut down the run. Right now, the Eagles are on rush defense, second in the NFL. Last year, the lead running back was Christian McCaffrey with all of 8 yards. So that's what they did. This is going to be like last game with the Eagles playing up against the receivers and the defensive line getting after Eli Manning. That was really like a statement game by Jim Schwartz. This is going to be more so, because they have to replicate exactly what they did last year, stay disciplined in their lanes, because Cam Newton last year, 71 yards running on the ground. They've got to keep Cam Newton in the pocket, shut down the run, make him one-dimensional, because if you make Cam one-dimensional, if you're in Cam's face, if you are hitting them, and it's well documented that that Panthers offense has struggled getting the ball down the field in big chunk plays, you will win that game once again. This is going to be a defensive statement game for Jim Schwartz. Do you agree?